Boy.
The deck is usually stacked in his favor. Canelo is the golden boy first because he can fight his ever-loving ass off. When he was a teenager, he was a YouTube sensation, playing to packed houses in Mexico, there to watch him beat up grown men. Now, over a decade later, he's outboxing the rangiest and cagiest and outfighting the roughest and toughest in the whole wide world. Canelo was the golden boy second because as a top fighter of Mexican heritage, he has a built-in following. There is no larger nor more rabid fan base in the world. Thirdly, he's good-looking, which plays to Madison Avenue, see his Under Armour endorsement deal. And with the red hair, he's got an unusual look, an Irish-looking Mexican prize fighter.
When the deck is stacked, only the special ones rise above. And in boxing, nobody embodied that more than Canelo Alvarez, the golden boy of the sport. First, because he could fight his ever-loving ass off. As a teenager, he was already a YouTube sensation, filling packed houses in Mexico to watch him dismantle grown men. Over a decade later, he's still outboxing the rangiest and slickest, and outfighting the roughest and toughest in the world. Canelo was the golden boy second, because as a top fighter of Mexican heritage, he carried the biggest, most passionate fan base in boxing. And third, because he looked the part, handsome, red-haired, with that unique Irish look that made Madison Avenue line up with endorsements like Under Armour. He wasn't just a fighter. He was a brand. His appeal was a perfect storm: elite skill, a deep connection to the most loyal fan base in boxing, and marketability that extended far beyond the ring. His resume reads like a Hall of Fame ballot. He didn't just fight champions. He hunted nightmares. From the slick Cuban southpaw Erislandy Lara, a high-risk, low-reward puzzle, to knockout artists like Daniel Jacobs and Sergey Kovalev, Canelo went looking for danger.
Promoter Golden Boy is so named because the boss is the golden boy himself, Oscar De La Hoya. De La Hoya's appeal was based on his excellence, of course. He brought home the Olympic gold medal after all. But also the fact that he was good-looking and of Mexican heritage. Oscar was Mexican-American. And because of that, and because he was a pretty boy, he had some proving to do before he was accepted by the Mexican fight crowd. I mean, if you're so tough and willing to show it, which you better be in order to win over hardcore fight fans, why are your facial features still where they're supposed to be?
But no chapter defines Canelo more than his two-fight war with Gennady Golovkin. For years, the world demanded it. Golovkin, the wrecking ball from Kazakhstan versus boxing's golden boy. Their first meeting ended in a controversial draw, leaving a stain on the sport and a question mark over Canelo's supremacy.
Trout and Jacobs, close. Yes, I thought he beat Lara too. Thought if anyone deserved the decision in the Triple G rematch, it was Canelo. I ain't playing favorites. I agree he lost the first Triple G fight and got practically shut out by Floyd Mayweather the night one judge had it a draw laughably. But that's how it usually works with the network's house fighter, with the promoter's cash cow, with the A side, with the golden buff and willing to show it, and is not apologizing for the fact that he has those kind of James Toney level skills to hit you more than you can hit him. Cat slippery, slip punches and counter guy. There have been great Mexican fighters who were also big draws, like Julio Cesar Chavez and Marco Antonio Barrera. But until now, there hasn't been a genuine Mexican golden boy, the glamour fighter with crossover appeal and the biggest...
Many of those battles, including the first GGG fight, were razor thin, with critics arguing that Canelo often got the benefit of the doubt from the judges.
That Triple G won the second fight as well. I think Canelo showed some improvement, but it's also possible that Triple G might have slowed down a little bit.
I think so. The first fight I had at 9-3 for Triple G. That's how I scored.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, and I gave the first 3 rounds to Canelo, and then I had it every round after for Triple G. This fight, I thought Canelo won. Close fight, and if you gave it to Triple G, I wouldn't have screened robbery.
Right. I think Teddy was saying that he thought the Triple G won, but I felt like, it's a pretty close fight. But certainly Canelo showed much improvement.
He did, and he fought us.
But stung by criticism, Canelo reinvented himself in the rematch. He walked down the predator. He became the hunter, and in forcing Golovkin backward, he earned a brutal, Narrow decision that cemented his reputation as, in Max Kellerman's words, a 100% fighter.
I should say this before the decision gets announced, said that if Golovkin didn't win by some ungodly lopsided beatdown, that he could lose a decision because of corruption. He goes, because that's how boxing rolls, and there's way more money in Canelo winning. So that said, now that we know that,
Tecate sponsor.
that's true. Well, apparently the audience is like half Mexican. He's a superstar in Mexico. Just a superstar.
Who are you talking about?
Canelo.
Oh, yeah.
So let's see if Brendan Schaub predicted this correctly, because we think
It has to be Golovkin.
the unofficial scorecard guy had it for Golovkin by several rounds. We think it was Golovkin clearly, although Canelo fought a great fight.
From then on, the conversation shifted. Not if he was great, but whether he could one day surpass the legendary Julio Cesar Chavez as the greatest Mexican fighter ever. To do that, Kellerman argued, he'd need to attempt the monumental, like cleaning out the light heavyweight division.
He's fighting on the outside, and little Canelo Alvarez is chasing him. Canelo is a 100%.
But while Canelo was building his empire, a monster was coming of age in the shadows, David Benavidez. From a young age, he carried the weight of massive expectations. Kellerman once called him the closest thing he'd ever seen to a young Julio Cesar Chavez.
I mean, I think it was clear. I think that the smaller guy backed up the bigger guy. See, a puncher like Golovkin, a guy who's made his living on coming forward, doesn't want to go backwards. That was Canelo's game plan from the beginning, and you have to give him credit for having the courage to stand in the lion's den to get his work off.
But when he was backing him up, Andre, Triple G was using the jab all night long, and it couldn't miss Canelo's face. What about that?
I'll put it like this. Most of the combinations throughout the course of the fight, Canelo led, Golovkin would tap him with a jab or maybe come back with a right hand, a left hook, and Canelo would also finish. He would lead and he would finish. So as a judge, I'm looking at that, and to me, if I didn't score round for round, I'm looking at Canelo and I'm saying that he has the momentum. He's dominating this fight. So you can have a close fight, but there could also be a guy kind of dominate. Like, man, it's subtle, but man, this guy.
His destiny was written early. Trained by his father, Jose Benavidez Sr., since the age of 3, David's childhood wasn't about playgrounds. It was discipline, endless drills, and sparring grown men as a boy. His style is suffocating, relentless. 7, 8, 9 punch combinations that break opponents down piece by piece. For Benavidez, it's not just about winning titles. It's about immortality, to be the greatest ever. But despite his rise, one colossal roadblock stood in the way of superstardom, getting Canelo Alvarez in the ring. And Benavidez has a chillingly direct explanation for why it hasn't happened.
Ever see Julio Cesar Chavez in his prime? I'm talking about the daddy. I'm talking about one of the greatest fighters ever. This guy is the closest thing I have seen to a big Julio Cesar Chavez. David, I'm not putting the Chavez thing on you. I'm just saying you're the closest thing I've seen to a big dude.
David Benavidez has said it plainly. Canelo is definitely scared of me.
In everything that's happening in my career, I'm in a great position every single way. I wasn't going to go down to 168, but now if Canelo wants to come up, then, I got the WBC world title, 175. After I beat Bivol, I'm going to have all belts. So after that happens, now I'm the one who has the power. Now I'm the one. Canelo said he doesn't fight. He fights for greatness. He fights for titles. Well, let me go pick up all the titles.
To him, this isn't just trash talk. It's calculated truth. He points to Canelo's lopsided loss to the bigger, technically sharp Dimitri Bivol as proof. Benavidez believes Canelo sees in him an unstoppable mix of speed, power, and will, a puzzle with no solution. He has no chance of beating me now, Benavidez has declared. In his eyes, if Canelo ever believed he could win, the fight would have already happened, especially after turning down a reported $50 million offer. For Benavidez, it's simple math. Canelo is a businessman, and this is a business decision he cannot afford to make, because it's a fight he cannot win.